Hi guys, story time. Not sure where to start really, but let's start with Killdozer. Everyone knows Killdozer. Martin Heemeyer, I think I pronounced that correctly. A guy who got shafted by the local municipality and decided to take out his revenge using a Killdozer. A bulldozer rebuilt to become a tank, basically. So Google that shit if you don't know about it. But mainly, this is about people having some issues with authority and handling that in stupid ways. So, what am I talking about? I'm talking about a certain person in Sweden whose name is Torbjörn Axelman. He's still alive. And the event I'm talking about took place back in 2008. Yeah. So this all is happening around a certain place called Brucebo. And Brucebo is an artist home. So there's not that many of these homes. They are very special houses. There's a few of them. And the ones I'm thinking about were all built at the height of the romantic variant of nationalism that happened late 1800s, early 1900s. When people still thought that nationalism is good shit. So in this national romantic sense of art, they built special houses in Art Nouveau usually. There are many different examples. And Brucebo is a really, really nice one. It is on the island of Gotland, just north of Visby. And this house, when the artists passed away, almost got destroyed, almost disappeared. It was what's called in Swedish vandrarhem, a place where people could sleep for a night or two for a sheep. But then this guy Axelman, who had frequented Brucebo while it was a vandrarhem, he took it over. And he lived there for 30 years, and he basically saved it from ruin. The state wanted to demolish parts of it because there's this socialist law called strandskydd, or the protection of beaches, which says that no one can own beach property in Sweden. But the parts of the house close to the beach was built before 1934, or 39, well, sometime then. 1937, by the way. So he managed to save that, and all the art inside of the house was left untouched and unmolested. He basically saved this house. There was this organization with people who had connections with the municipality and all that, who didn't have the funds to restore Brucebo, the house. Torbjörn did. He was a very famous artist himself, but in television and movies. He worked for the state television, SVT, and did a lot of things. And he had the American actor and the songwriter Lee Hazelwood. When he was in Sweden, he came to Brucebo to visit Axelman, and they made a movie together called Cowboy in Sweden. Lee Hazelwood is famous because he collaborated with Nancy Sinatra and made the song "These Boots Are Made for Walking." And that's just what they do. And one of these days, these boots are gonna walk all over you. So Lee Hazelwood and Axelman were friends. And he usually stayed at Brucebo with Axelman. Anyway, this all came to an head in 2008 because what had happened was that Axelman's company had gone bankrupt. The manager of this stiftelse, as it's called in Swedish, this organization who were supposed to take care of the art and the Brucebo house got money for that from the state, and they took it over. But they had an agreement that Axelman was supposed to be able to stay at the house. Something happened. Apparently they didn't honor this agreement. And on the autumn of 2008, they were coming to pick up the art, and they were going to restore the art. So let's read. I got the court documents here. I managed to get them released from the court. And the court is Gotlands tingsrätt. Let's see here if we can get a description of the events. I'll try to translate it for you guys. On the 1st of December in 2008, there was a shooting in 2 acts in the house of Brucebo, next to Skälsö, about 5 kilometers north of Visby on Gotland. Around 1400 hours this day, Mr. J, chairman of Brucebo Stipendiefond för konstnärer, this organization, got shot by Torbjörn. The event took place in the kitchen of Axelman's house, which is Brucebo. Mr. J managed to, gravely wounded, get out of the house, and after a while he got transported to a hospital. Several other people in the building managed to flee to a balcony, and after a couple of hours they could be evacuated. This led to a very large police response, and everyone was surrounded by the police. At 2200 hours on the evening, Axelman left the building together with his dog. On the backside of the building there was a shooting between Axelman and the police. Axelman got shot, and the police took him down. No police officer got injured. Axelman has been in jail since then. And this was the court documents from 2009. So he's been in jail for a year by now. Axelman is prosecuted for 3 cases of attempted murder. J and 2 of the police officers he shot at. So Axelman got shot so bad by the police that he almost died. And Mr. J got shot by Axelman so that he almost died. And this is one of the rare occurrences when legal firearms, he owned a revolver legally, where that was used like this. This is the only case I know about where sport shooting firearms has been used by the owner in attempted murder, basically. I don't know of any other case where this has happened. So, Axelman admitted to having threatened them and having injured Mr. J. And he didn't want to kill, injure, or make someone hurt, basically. And he didn't want to behave in a dangerous manner either. Yeah, right. So, with the shots, he wanted to scare Mr. J. Okay, so Mrs. G, a witness, said Torbjörn was very angry and irritated about Mr. J the autumn of 2008. The last November 2008, she got to take part of a letter that contained an eviction of Torbjörn from Brucebo. And Torbjörn really did not like Mr. J. So apparently Mr. J is, according to this witness, basically a person that avoids conflict and goes behind the back of people and, as they say, stab them in the back. And this is interesting. She says that Torbjörn carries firearms as like a comfort blanket when he's feeling down. So when he's kind of depressed, he carries a revolver as a comfort blanket. That's not healthy. That's not healthy. But she wasn't afraid that something was going to happen because Torbjörn never showed any tendencies for violence. But she calls this event that happened when they tried to pick up the art as a miniature nuke in his life. And this witness also says that Torbjörn firing towards the police officers is probably a case of trying to do suicide by cop. So regarding what actually happened, the court says that any normal person wouldn't have reacted this way, and that Mr. J actually went out of his way to try to handle Torbjörn with kid gloves. So what actually happened? I think they probably did just that. You have to use your empathy here. This is a very old person by now, and he's lived his entire life in this building. His identity is tied into this building. His entire professional life and everything is tied to this building. His movies was made in this building. Everything was around this beautiful, beautiful building. And now someone tries to take that away from him when he just wants to basically live a few more years and die in this building. Yeah, it probably something happened there. So what did all this lead to? What happened? Yeah, so they had doctors examine him while in jail, and they basically concluded that he's nuts, or he has such a disturbance, psychic disturbance, that he can't be legally held accountable for his actions. And yeah, I'll try to translate the verdict here. The court physicians have said that Torbjörn committed these crimes under influence of a very, very serious psychic disturbance, and he still has that. He's still suffering from it. He is in need of care, that is to be under lock and key and other forceful measures. So into the hospital, to not leave. And that is what the verdict was, except some payment for damages and stuff like that. So what actually happened was, since this is all over now, he spent a few years in hospital until he was well again, and he became well again, and then he was released. First he was released to an apartment in the city of Stockholm, and banned from going to Gotland or ever coming close to Brucebo house again. And every week he had to go to the psychiatrist to talk to the psychiatrist. And after a while, that psychiatrist said, well, he's perfectly normal now. And Axel Mann's son, he lives on Gotland. So they revoked the ban on him traveling to Gotland as well, so he could visit his son. And as far as I know, this is all over now. But yeah, this can happen in Sweden. Someone who really, really loves his house can try to defend it in some kind of psychotic breakdown and shoot at police officers who will just injure him so they can take him down. Everyone survives. No one with any real lasting wounds, I guess. I haven't read anything about either Axel Mann or Mr. J having permanent damage. Even though mostly luck was involved that no one actually died. Yeah, and in this case I'm gonna have to say that that probably was a good verdict. This was obviously someone with a psychotic breakdown, having the shittiest day of his life. And as far as I know, everyone has moved on. Yeah, so only case of a legal gun owner using his legal gun to do a very, very, very stupid thing. Okay.